guess what? There is new footage that we were able to obtain, and this is insane, fam. So basically, okay, so Robert Fuller.
Yeah.
I had gone up to Palmdale with Tina Desiree Berg, who is a fantastic reporter, and you guys should follow her on Rockfin and everything else. And since you guys weren't able to make it, you were at a protest. There was Pasta was in Palm Desert, and I helped grab some footage from the area. So let's take a look at some of this footage here that I got. Let me find the footage here. So we can see here the amount of people that were that showed up Saturday. Saturday I was there. Saturday the 13th of June. I was there, and I helped record a lot of this footage. There was a lot of people, hundreds, maybe almost 1,000 people in the City Hall of Palmdale. So that was on Saturday the 13th of June, where hundreds of people gathered, and we can see the vast amounts of people there. We'll go to the memorial at the tree, where people started a memorial there to commemorate Robert Fuller. And there's flowers and candles, and eventually people put down signs, justice for Robert Fuller. We need to keep asking questions, things like that. Eventually that Saturday, the protesters decided to march around Palmdale town, and you can see here that the police showed up in their full riot gear, which is ridiculous because literally they're just marching. They're literally just marching and yelling. No one was looting. There was no looting that was done that day.
Yeah.
And there's the police, the sheriff's department.
It's a SWAT, yeah.
LA Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. And this is like almost towards the outskirts of LA County, so
yeah, this is really north. It's like an hour away from where we're at.
Yeah, so we're in Pasadena.
We're closer than other places.
It's about an hour away, 60 miles away from Pasadena, and it's still LA Sheriff's Department there. And they didn't want the protesters to disrupt traffic, right? So they just they came out there in their riot gear, and eventually the crowd moved away from the street, and then they left. So that was good. So nothing too violent happened there. And basically that Saturday, we see the courage of people still asking for questions, They continue to ask, for answers. They continue to ask for answers. And you can see this lady here. This is near the end of the protest where she was still right there with a sign, "We need answers. We need answers."
Yeah.
And so that was all Saturday. And me and Tina, we went back multiple times. On Wednesday, the 17th, we had gone back and spoken to various shops, store owners that surrounded the area.
Yeah. Because it was weird the whole time that the police never asked for the tapes from the store owners. In
the previous show, I believe it was the 17th or the day after or whatever, I had mentioned how Palmdale, I think it was the sheriff's or Twitter or whatever, they tweeted out the day after Robert Fuller's death about a dog. And then it's like, why aren't you not asking for footage for Robert Fuller's death?
Exactly.
They first admitted it was a suicide, and no one's buying that shit because what black man is going to hang himself in that manner? So here we are in Palmdale. So I want to take y'all to the street view. We're going to see it here. Okay, so here's Palmdale. All right. This is City Hall where everything happened, right? Okay. So this is the tree that the memorial was at. This is the City Hall right here. This is City Hall. This is the Chamber of Commerce or something. Okay, and then here's some stores. The store here is a cafe. There's a cafe here. There's a weird store here that has no name. There's no business here. It looks like it's closed. There's a photography shop here. And let me tell you that there are cameras at various locations, but none that directly show a direct view at the park. They do, however, show virtually all the ways that someone could take to get to the area where Robert Fuller was lynched. So let me show you here on the map. So there was a camera here. This is a photography store. There's a camera here at this sketchy shop here that was next to the cafe. And that one kind of points this way. So you can't really see because the tree is directly so this camera points this way and the tree's right here. So maybe there was something there. And then there's the fire department here. There's an insurance attorney guy here. There's no cameras there. No cameras there with the fire department, which I was surprised about. And then there's his apartments over here. So there's a camera on this corner of the building that aims towards this way, towards the park. So maybe there's something there. And it was high. It was high up on the building. There's another camera here that aims towards the gate. So you could see a car coming down this way. If there was a car coming down this way, and then turned into maybe there's parking spaces right here. There's parking spaces right here. They could have parked right there and then gone to the tree right there. Who knows? They could have parked over here. There's these apartments that have cameras. So the one here next to the cafe has the perspective of the parking lot and towards the water fountain. Not really towards the tree, really. But again, it can show pretty close of someone walking by there or a car license plate, perhaps. To no avail were we able to get footage from the store. In fact, when I knocked on the store, I didn't realize it at the time, but someone was in there, and she totally ignored us. So let me show you this clip real quick right here. So here's the cafe, which is right next to it. Any cameras anywhere? No cameras in the cafe.
Yeah, but see, here's this one right here.
And then look at that camera.
It's a rain. Will you knock on the door and see if there's anyone in there?
It's just an office. What kind of office is this? Has that been there that whole time?
Yeah, I got photos of it on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah.
So me being me, I try to, it's really dark. They have something dark. I try to get with the camera. And you can see there's somebody in there. I had no idea. There's somebody in there. So they totally ignored us.
Oh, yeah.
They totally ignored us.
Do you think people are scared of the police? Because that's what I mean. I also we're gonna show. I interviewed some people, but one person. But I've talked to a few people who lived in that area, Palmdale, Lancaster. There's a lot of tension between the community and the police. There's a lot of it's really a lot of people say that they have seen a lot of white supremacist people in the area. That the police are heavily tied to racist people. There's rumors, there's all these things that are going on. And a lot of these people, I'm sure, don't want any trouble with the police.
From the people that I spoke to there, they weren't aware of the Peckerwoods. Everywhere we asked, they weren't really aware of the Peckerwoods.
Yeah, that's a specific name, though.
Yeah, it is specific.
Yeah,
and then
I wasn't even aware.
I don't know. Yeah, so
for a while.
If there was anything about that, it looks like they're doing it pretty secretly. So one of the store owners I will show here, this corner store. Let me see if I can pull it up here on the map. So there's a park. That's the tree right there. This corner store right here, they had a camera. And it's a photography store / they share the corner store with their son who does photography. Really nice, really great couple, family. Let's see when they say the police showed up to their store. They actually allowed us to speak to them. So let's see when they say that the police showed up to the store.
Me dijo mi hijo que parece que habían venido los detectives para que iban a traerles un chip porque mi hijo no tiene otro. Parece que iban a traer un chip, no sé si para grabar esto, no sé, pero mi hijo dijo que ya habían venido los detectives, creo.
¿Y cuándo vinieron? ¿Era cuando pasó, el día que pasó o era...?
No, mucho después.
¿Mucho después?
Apenas, o sea...
3 días, 4 días.
Póngale 4 días más o menos.
¿Esta cámara firma de 24 horas así o se queda todo?
Me imagino que sí, porque luego cuando nosotros nos vamos, mi hijo dice que dejemos todo, pero mi hijo es el que más le puede dar más información porque él es el de aquí.
Ok. No es tanto distancia, pero de repente se puede ver un carro que viene aquí,
exacto,
por ahí.
No sé si...
So that was a direct view. That was the live view of the camera. So yeah, he said 3 or 4 days. Let's continue.
¿Le pasó esto del pobre muchacho? ¿No es donde están los globos en el árbol ese?
Sí, en ese árbol. So no se puede ver el muchacho, pero se puede ver los carros que vienen.
Exacto. Entonces, si dicen que fue como a las 3 de la mañana, si eso pasó por aquí, si hay un carro o algo que pasó por aquí, ahí empieza, ¿no?
Sí. Yeah. ¿Cómo no pueden los policías venir el primer día? 3, 4 días.
4 días.
Que vinieron, parece que sí. No estoy muy seguro.
So, yeah, I mean, even
yeah.
that gentleman couldn't even believe that it took them that long to get to the footage.
That's whatever. And then they had it took them that long to ask questions, but right away they decided it was a suicide. It's two conflicting things.
Exactly.
How do you decide it's a suicide right away without a full autopsy? But yet you think it's not important to talk to the businesses that with the cameras to get the actual, the full story of what might have happened.
And so after various days of communication between myself and the son, he granted us access to the footage. And here's some things to know before I show this footage. The camera records only when there's movement in front of it. During nighttime, this camera is not really good, and that goes to like all cameras. They all lose quality when there's low light, since light is primarily how cameras work, and how our eyes work. We take the light that reflects off everything, right? Physics 101. Except our eyes are better, So here's my analysis of the footage. Okay, we're gonna go through it, and you're gonna have to bear with me because they were WMV files, so it's actually really it's hard to play on a Mac. So here's what we're gonna do. So this one, which was at 10:04 p.m. This was 10:04 p.m. and we can see a car pull into the lot. So it's an SUV type car that pulls into the lot. So that's what happened at 10:04 p.m. Now let's go to the next one that I have on the list, or that made the important list, that made the useful list, which was right here. This one is at 10:24 p.m. on June 9th. It looks like a different car actually pulled into the lot.
A different day or the same day?
The same day,
okay.
20 minutes later. It looks like a different car pulled in from the left side here. And then you see a person walk. Well, it looks like he was running, jogging. Let me replay that one for you guys. So there's a car. I know. There's let me do it slowly. I see. Okay, I want you to watch over here, okay? Watch over here. And we also see someone running from right to the left. Could they have been going on a jog? Perhaps. But he was 100% running. The camera does not film slowly or quickly. It's real time. So let's watch this. There they are. Right there. Following my mouse. There's a person that's running across the street. So then the camera cuts out. And that was at 10:24 and 39 seconds. And
that actually I run. That looks like a fast run.
Yeah.
To me. Just like, because when you're jogging, it looks, I don't know, maybe It looks really fast. For
Yeah.
a jog,
Well, a car
but-
pulls in, and well, who knows? They could just be jogging. They could be going for a jog
Yeah.
at 10:24 p.m. So then the next one, which was right after, I just had seen this one. This is I just noticed this one. This one is kind of crazy. Now, someone is walking in the background, and you also see the red light from the previous car in the last clip in between the flags. So pay attention to this.
Okay.
You see the red light here, and then there it is. Someone's walking right there. It's really slow. It's really fast, but someone is walking at the very end.
Did
there.
you show it?
Yeah, I did show it. Oh, I did not show
you
it.
did
My
not
bad.
show it.
My
Okay,
bad.
I'm like-
It was on Fiorella.
Like,
Okay, I'm gonna show it again. Here, sorry about that, guys. It's weird because
he's talking and doing.
that, and then also these files were annoying, and so here I'm gonna show you again. So the red light there, you saw it right here. There's the red light of the car, because this is directly right after the last one where that car pulled in from the left.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we pay attention, right there, someone is walking across it. You can barely see it. It's really hard to see. Someone is walking into the park at 10:25. Fuck.
And this is the day of.
This is the night of, yes. Yeah, this is June 9th, and then the hanging got called in at the 10th.
Okay.
So we see a car.
Is there anything open that would have been open at that time for these cars to be there?
Around City Hall? No. There's no way. Let me pull up this next one. This one is at 10:49 and 4 seconds. And what I saw in this one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say what I saw, and then we'll look at it. So we see a car coming from the direction of City Hall and pull in next to this other car that's parked right there. And then we also see someone walk by directly in front of the camera, and they could just be walking home. So let's just see what this looks like. So there's the car pulling into the lot, and then there's someone walking by there. It looks like they actually crossed the street. But yes, there's a car that pulls in.
I see.
The next clip right after that one, which is at 10:50 p.m. with 54 seconds. So a minute later, or like 30 seconds later, we see the car that is parked is unlocked, I believe, which is what the yellow light is. So perhaps someone left their car there and went somewhere and then came back late to pick it up, right? We leave our cars in places, or the car was involved somehow. So let's just take a look at this. So you see the yellow light. I think it got unlocked. And then, so yeah, that car pulled up to take that person to that car. Now, the next one says, we see both cars pull out. The car that drove them waits for the first one to leave. So basically here it is 10:51 p.m., so a minute later. And we see both of these cars pulling out. And the car that dropped off the person who got into that car is waiting. And we see it's like kind of like an SUV.
What are they in front of right now? They're in front of the park?
So the park is over here, and then the stores are over here. The cafe is like over here. This corner store is nothing. There's like, it has no business. There was no business. I'll show you on this map, actually. So if the camera's here, it's aiming this way. So then the car was parked there. It looks like Ark of Salvation Church. It's church. Okay. It looks like it's a church. I didn't know that was a church. But yeah, here's the sketchy business, and then this is the cafe right here. So it's this camera from this photography store is aiming this way, and we can see just a small field of view here. and that's how we saw. That's what we saw there. So let me pull up the next one. What do you think about this all, fam, so far?
It's just really weird to me that people are there late, especially in this town that's pretty, like, it's not the most populated area. It's a very suburban area. If all the businesses are closed, it's super late. The most I can think you'd be doing is going to a park and jogging. I also think it would involve, if you were going to frame somebody as a suicide, and if you were a cop or if you were involved in any sort of way, you wouldn't go with a, you'd need to have a big car, like an SUV, and you wouldn't go with a police marked car. You'd go with a car that's normal, and you'd also need help. I don't think one person could do this if they were framing something, right?
No.
So you would need a lot of room to transport a body, because a lot of people were saying that his body, the way it was positioned, looked like it was just put there. And so if I'm seeing an SUV and another car and all this interaction, I don't know. I'm just really suspect that it's anything innocent, because it's COVID. Like, still, people, like, these businesses aren't open. What are you doing over there at that time? At the very least,
yes.
I would have tried to look at that and try to interview these people and say, what were you doing at this hour on June 9th at
Exactly.
10:24?
Okay,
right?
so that's a good point, fam. It's COVID. And when we went there and we were trying to find food and stuff, there's a lot of businesses that are closed still from COVID. Like, this is in the outskirts of LA. LA's starting to open back up. These businesses were closed, and a lot of them were still operating under COVID procedures, which is basically, mask, only drive-through, nothing inside.
Right.
Nothing was inside.
And if things close like at 9 or 10 here, over there, I'm assuming they're closing way earlier than that.
Exactly. And this is like the middle of nowhere. It's like the desert.
Yeah.
Okay. So this next one was really interesting also, because it's another figure walking in the park. And I will zoom in for you, but it's really hard to see. And this is at 12:24 p.m. So now it is June 10th, midnight,
right.
12:24 p.m. So it's the same day, same night, but it's 12:24. So let's look at this, and it's the figures up here. So after this car passes, you just see a shadow over there. You just see a shadow. So it's really hard to see. Let me pull it up again. It's really hard to see. But Tina says I got eagle eyes. So there's a shadow. There's a shadow. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah.
For you guys. Okay, I'm going to zoom in as much as I can here. Sorry, this footage is like really, really... they were in WMV files, so Mac does not support it. So here I'm going to zoom in. Right here, you got to look, okay? There's a shadow there. There's a shadow. Boom, I just followed it. It's really hard to catch. I'm sure the police did not catch that. It doesn't say anything. It just says that there's someone there at 12:24, and then the figure we saw earlier, it also says that there's somebody there at whatever.
Yeah.
What was it?
10:20 something, or
yeah, it was
shortly
10:25. Throughout the whole footage, just like a lot of cars that were driving by, which is interesting during COVID, and the fact that it's City Hall. I'm not sure if this is a busy street.
I guess people can go to church late if there's something going on there.
Usually that's not what happens.
I don't even know if church is open.
Exactly. Churches aren't open that late. So let me pull up this next one. What did I say about this next one? This next one is so it's 1:07 a.m. Another person walking in front of the store. A passerby, I think, since they went off to the right. So let's watch this really quick. I just included this because I wanted to document every time someone passes, every time there's a person. So I basically documented every time there was a person that I could see. So that was another one. I think that person was involved. It looked like an old lady to me.
Yeah.
This next one, it says sirens from the fire trucks arriving. So this is 3:27. This is 3:24 a.m. when supposedly the fire department got the call.
So somebody, how did they get the call?
That's what I'm saying. So when did they get the call? When did that person see it? Like, who drove by and saw that? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Because
so.
that's the timeline is like soon. They had to. It could have happened between that time. That was a short amount of time. You're starting to see something between 10:24 and 3 o'clock. So it probably happened before, sometime in between there, and sometime before they even saw it.
And in between all that, fam, which I didn't include in this, I see the cars. They look really like it's hard to distinguish in detail the car.
Yeah.
There's a certain car that has the red brake light that goes across, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw this same car just driving by multiple times throughout the whole night. So maybe that could have been someone who helped and then was driving people to see it. I don't know. This is me reaching.
Mm-hmm.
This is not with factual evidence. Although I feel like I did see the same car driving by multiple times. That is the footage I saw that I thought was really useful. I am in contact with the person who released it to see if we can release all the footage to the public, but we are not sure yet, and I will update you guys when that happens.
Yeah, because the public should really have a right to know all of this and see all of this for themselves.
So what do you think about all this, fam? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that it took them this long to even get the footage.
It's ridiculous it took them this long to get the footage. I think it's ridiculous that not more people are coming forward and saying, hey, here's some footage. You tried talking to somebody else. I also think that there's a lot of activity for that time of night. And even way after 10 o'clock, we're talking about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, even people just, too many cars. And then all of a sudden you have this body. Whatever happened somewhere in between there. Whatever happened somewhere in between there. If I was going to commit suicide in the middle of the night, and no, I think I would make sure it was a place that was completely secluded. This seems like a place that's not even that secluded. The fact that there were so many cars driving by to me just signals that there was multiple people involved in this. I think.
I think so too. I think it was a planned, coordinated effort. And I think the most damning one was this one that I just saw today that I didn't even realize. When the car pulls in from the left at 10:25 p.m. I'm putting the time at 10:25 p.m. This is me completely just making. I'm reaching a little bit here because this car that pulls in at 10:25 p.m. it pulls in from this way, which is you have to pass by the apartments to get there, and the apartments have cameras. So if the apartments would comply and give their footage, then we could see which car this is, and then also if there's anything going on with the gazebo, which is on the left over here. It's on the left over here. There's a gazebo. And then there's the tree right there, and then there's the fountain right here, and then this car just pulls in from the left, stops, there's someone running there, and then in the next clip, someone gets out of that vehicle, it looks like. Mm-hmm. See, there's a vehicle, and then someone gets out of that vehicle. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm trying to get this for the fams. Trying to show you guys as fams. Then there's someone walking towards the park at 10:25 p.m. That's where
into the center of the park, not even running.
That's where I would. No, he was walking towards the center. So that's where I would be focusing my energy if I was to share the department with so many resources to be able to fucking
just demand all this footage. Yeah.
So I mean, my conclusion of this is basically the sheriff department should have gotten the footage from the apartments, that sketchy business, in the photography store, which is The 3 cameras that we saw, I don't think the church had any cameras. Instead, the only store that we were able to speak with says that detectives came Monday after, which is the 15th. So, and the lynching happened on the 10th. So that's 5 days after the lynching.
Yep.
And then got that footage on a USB drive on the 19th, which is the day that we received the footage. And this is purposely neglectful on the part of the sheriff's department and very suspicious, if you ask me. Having the resources they have and the time they have, if they really cared, they would have gotten the footage the next day instead of posting about a dog. We can see various cars enter the lot and then someone walking in the distance. And the times are really sketchy, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, I think that footage is showing us what happened, but it's just so hard to tell with, you know, with that type of footage, and also the angle too. It would really help if we could get the other footage. And let's talk about that for a minute. The police department investigating itself when they are the ones under investigation doesn't really seem right to me, right? This is a situation where if I were an honest deputy, I would be like, okay, we might need to call the feds, or we might need to have somebody else outside our jurisdiction investigate this, because there might be people involved in our department, right? Like it's just I don't trust the police investigating this, because obviously they're not interested. Right off the bat, somebody should have said, hey, this isn't being investigated right. Let's call into somebody else that's outside of this to do the investigation.
They would never do that, fam.
But that's the thing. That's the proper protocol. But they seem to be covering it up and just dismissing it, insisting on the suicide. When clearly, I mean, if the guy did kill himself, somebody had to have seen it, right? We're looking at all these cars coming in and out, these people. Somebody had to have seen it, or somebody had to have seen something. Somebody out there.
Like, who called it in? That's the other thing.
That's another thing.
Release that audio, right? So
100%.
that's that segment, fam.